Um, I'm sure that we have all, and I do apologize, I am a walker when I speak.
That's all right. That's all
But I'm
right.
sure we've all heard the story of the woman with the issue of blood.
All right. Yes. All right.
And so today I kind of want to revisit it just to take a look at it from a different perspective, because typically when we hear it from the aspect of faith or from healing. But I found something just a little different that I want to share with y'all. And so the story is in Mark chapter 5, verses 25 through 34. However, for the sake of time, I will read as I work. And I will start with verses 27 and 28, and I will be reading from the New American Standard Version. 27 says, after hearing about Jesus, she came up in the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. 28 says, for she thought, if I can touch his garments, I will get well. We're going to talk about get in position. So, we must first understand that this was a woman who, by the Jewish law, was deemed unclean. So she was not even supposed to be amongst the people. She had been forbidden from being in any of the Jewish ceremonies. So she knew she wasn't supposed to be out there. So I said, now, was she being contumacious or was she really determined to get in position for what she needed? And so let's just take a look at it. And so when the Bible said that she heard that Jesus was coming, I said to myself, now my Lord, who would let her within earshot of them knowing this? But that's okay, because what I also realized was that reputations matter, because whatever it was that she heard about Jesus, it put that zeal inside of her. It restored that bulldog tenacity inside of her to get in position for what she needed. And so when I was younger, Baby Bop and Barney, thank y'all, they taught me how to use my imagination. And so here's what my imagination looks like today. And I see this fragile woman, because mind y'all, she's been bleeding for 12 years. And so I see this fragile woman, and she's walking around the house, and she's putting on her clothes, and she said, Jesus is coming. That's that man they said that turned water into wine. That's that man that they said raised the dead. That's that man that they said healed people. That's that man that calmed the storms on the sea. And so she had to get to that man. Yeah. And so she made her way through the crowd, and she pressed her way into Jesus' presence. And I said, now God, that reminds me of Psalm 37 and 23. And it says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And I just believe that if we press our way into his presence, he will order our footsteps. And so the Bible said that she came up behind him and she touched his garments. And I wish I had the time to tell y'all the significance of the garments, but I don't have time for that today. But what I did notice was that she was successful with touching him. And that said to me is that she got through the crowd and she got there quietly. And see, sometimes that's why we can't get in position correctly, because we want to tell everything that God has told us. We want everybody to know everything that we're doing. We want everybody to know every prophecy that has been spoken. And so God is saying, can you just listen, obey, and get in position? And so I looked at this woman and I said, now, come on here, sister, because you know you ain't supposed to be out here amongst the people. But not only are you amongst the people, you're in a crowd of people. And not only are you in a crowd of people, but you were bold enough to touch Jesus. And so I couldn't just let it go. And so the Bible said that once she touched him, immediately her blood stopped, and immediately Jesus, he felt the power come out of him. And see, that's why I love serving God. That's why I don't mind, because when you're in position, you don't have to wait as long as you think you gotta wait. The Bible said immediately her blood stopped, and immediately Jesus, he felt that power go forth out of him. And so Jesus, he turned around and he said, who touched me? Somebody, they touched me. And so his disciples, that's what they were. His disciples, they said, oh, come on, like, man, are you serious? All these people out here? And you gonna ask who touched you? And I chuckled, y'all. I had to laugh because I said, this is why it's very important to have people hang around you that have the same vision as you, that has the same heart as you. Because these disciples, they were very selfish because they were so focused on getting to this little girl that they didn't even stop and help Jesus complete the spiritual transaction that had just taken place. And so the Bible, my God, today. So Jesus tells them, he said, no, somebody touched me. This was a different type of touch. The Bible said that the power left him and it went forth. And if you know anything about something going forth, it has to have a destination. And so Jesus wanted to know, where did my power go? Because what he felt, what I believe he felt in that moment was her faith touched God's power. And so he wanted to know, who got my power? And so as embarrassed as she was, she came and she said, it was me. It was me. But please, let me tell you why. And see, I love her confession session because Jesus was not ignorant to who had touched him. But he wanted her to come forth and admit that it was her who had just witnessed the supernatural healing power of God and to reverence him. And I think it's very imperative that this also shows that you can't steal your healings from God. You can't steal whatever you need from Jesus. And so I loved her for that. And so Jesus tells her, he says, daughter, your faith has made you whole. Y'all, I did a dance in my room now. I did a dance in my room because I saw it was at this point. It was at this point that Jesus, he responds to who he is. And so Jesus' faith, and he replied to her faith, and he said, your faith has made you whole. And Jesus is merciful. And he replied to the blind men that yelled out, Son of David, have mercy on us. And he healed them. And Jesus is forgiven. And he replied to the woman who wiped his feet with her hair. And he told her, your sins are forgiven. So I'm going to digress so that I can close and sit down somewhere. And so we see in this story that she was determined to get in position and she ignored the laws and the risk of being caught in the crowd just to touch the clothes of a man that she had never met, just to touch the clothes of a man that she had never seen. She had never had a far-off encounter with him. She had never spoken to him. And so as I digress, I'm sorry, but this story got good to me because her and I, we similar. In the natural, we similar. And so as I close, I just want to say really quick to my Moses and my Jeremiahs, God said, just get in position and I'll tell you what to say. To my Elisha, God said, come out of the cave and get in position because I got your back. But to everybody else, I just want to say and encourage you to get in position and stay in position and fight for your position, but rock your position. Thank you.